Hey guys, and welcome back for another content of the game, the Ragnarok. And in this video, I'm going to make a tier list for all of the classes. Just a quick disclaimer, I'm not an expert gamer on the Taiwan or KR servers, but I've played on those servers for quite a while and tried out most of the classes. During the CBT on the C server, I also tested all of the available classes. Now I'd like to share my thoughts based on my experiences and the insights I've gained from watching Breaker Pain Gaming's live streams. If you are interested in learning more about the game's future, I highly recommend checking out his channel. He's cool and he answers all your questions regarding the game. Now let's dive into our first tier list for the early game. This includes first job characters and early level second job characters, specifically for those below level 50. First one is the Swordsman. The Swordsman class has decent leveling with their skill Bash dealing a good amount of damage and often being able to one-hit enemies. However, since they are a melee class, they tend to be outperformed by ranged classes and struggle to take down monsters, especially on day 1 where many players are crowding specific maps. For those reasons, I'd place Swordsman on the B tier. Same with a Swordsman that is melee is the Merchant. They will share the same fate like Swordsman, decent skill damage with Mammonite, but have a better passives like the discount that is very efficient when purchasing items in the Zenny shop. Nevertheless, this class also struggles versus the ranged classes, so Merchant will also be on the B tier. The last melee class is the Thief, and I have to say they are the weakest early game. They lack effective offensive skills and primarily rely on normal attacks with double attack passives and higher P attack stats, so best to invest in STR initially. However, when you change to Assassin, you'll need to reset your stats to focus on agility, since Sonic Blow is heavily dependent on agility. By that point, you'll have already used your free reset stone, making you more cautious with your stats allocation. For this reason, I'd rate the Thieves on the D tier. Now, for the ranged class, we go to Archer first. Archer excels in the early game with their double strafe, making it easy to complete, quest, and engage in AFK leveling. Their damage output is also impressive, especially when using elemental arrows to exploit monsters' weakness. The main drawback is their SP management, as they can drain SP fairly quickly. Still, I consider Archers one of the best class and place them on the S tier for early game. Mages are quite strong in the early game thanks to their Soul Strike, as the bolts are currently less effective. They also have passive SP regen, which helps reduce the need of SP potions, allowing you to save more Zennies. With this, I put the mages also on the S tier. Last one is the Acolyte. This class is an easy S tier. The Holy Light skill in this version of RO is incredibly powerful, and they also have the access to blessings and quicken buffs, which greatly enhances their leveling. Once they change to Priest, they gain access to Magnificat buff, which significantly boosts SP regeneration, allowing them to reduce their reliance on SP potions. If there were additional tiers on this list, I would rank it even higher than S, but for now it's an S tier. Now we go for the mid-game tier list. First up is the Hunter. They are definitely one of the best classes on this list, if not the best, largely due to their luck efficiency. While all classes benefits from luck for adding crit rate, Hunters gain even more advantage due to their luck scaling of their skill Falcon Strike. This not only boosts the auto falcon damage but also enhances your crit rate, giving them significant edge. For this reason, I'd place Hunter on the S tier. Next on the list is the Wizard. They are similar to the Mage but bring more variety with their AoE skills. With powerful abilities like Meteor Storm, Storm Gust, and Lord of Vermilion, Wizard excels at mob clearing. While these AoE skills do consume a lot of SP, they still remain a strong mid-game class and definitely deserves an S tier. Next up is the Blacksmith. Although they are a melee class, I can confidently say they are incredibly strong. Their raw attack power is significantly higher than that of other classes. They also have access to the Power Thrust buff, which greatly boosts their P attack. Additionally, they are the only class that able to craft elemental weapons, giving them distinct advantage in World Boss event, and they can also sell those elemental weapons in the market. For this reason, I've placed the Blacksmith on the S tier. Next one is for the weakest early game class. Assassin in the mid game, if built correctly, can be strong. However, it still can't match with another melee class that is the Blacksmith in terms of DPS and efficiency. And the worst part is their Sonic Blow is very SP hungry. I want to put them on the A tier just because of the damage they can do, but I also want this tier to be an overall efficiency. So for this reason, I'll put the Assassins on the B tier. Next is the Priest. While Acolyte is probably the best early game class, Priest remains solid for the mid game, giving them access to Magnificat, which greatly restores their SP, and Magnus Exorcismus for AoE damage. Also, the Sanctuary skills not only heals allies but also deals damage to enemies around that circle, which gives Priest more sustain and DPS at the same time. They can also be a full support if you want to fully utilize this class to help your guildmates in every scenario. So for this matter, Priest is still one of the best class and definitely an S tier. Lastly is the Knight. Knight is just okay, not really that great after changing jobs from Swordsman. I mean, they are not bad, but also not really that strong either if you compare it to other classes that are on the S tier. Their main skill damage will still be the bash, and you will be needing to get that one-handed sword Nagan, so your bash will have a chance to double attack. Yes, the bash and Mammonite here can double attack, and I've also got that info from Breaker Pain, which is why Nagan is needed for Knights. Still, their PvE efficiency is not really that super strong. That is why I gave Knight a B tier. Now, I just want to include this on my video and give my quick opinion for the late game class that I've been recently watching and observing on the other servers like Taiwan and KR. Again, this is just my opinion, so take this with a grain of salt. For my S tier classes are the Master Smith, because they can now gain access to weapon perfection and their damage is still very OP. Sniper is still a solid DPS and has an access to elemental arrows, which gives them an advantage for any scenario. High Wizard will still be one of the best class because of the AoE damage and crowd controls that they can do. High Priest is still S tier, solid buffs, great sustain and damage, plus they can shift to Battle Priest that is also capable of being a strong attack speed DPS. Assassin Cross has now earned a spot on the A tier due to their Enchant Deadly Poison, which significantly increases their damage by a lot. Additionally, their agility scaling in the late game is impressive, providing an excellent dodge rate that enhances their boss hunting experience. Lord Knight has pretty great skills now. They have access to more self buffs, which makes this class very good pick. Spiral Pierce is also impressive because of the damage and the range is quite long, so A tier. Now if I include the other two job classes, Professor will be in the S tier. Very strong bolt damage and has a great enchants. Paladin and Champions are in the B tier. I haven't seen many Paladin videos yet, and while Martyr's Reckoning isn't likely to be a game changer, they will still depend on Holy Cross and Grand Cross. As per Champions, they primarily rely on auto attacks that triple attack, as Asura Strike is weak in this game, which undermines their role as a one-hit KO class. Now for my final tier list, we'll focus on PvP, specifically for the mid game since we won't be engaging in PvP during early game. For our first class on the list is the Priest. Easy S tier. Has buffs, healing, DPS and resurrection. Very needed in parties. Wizards remain in the S tier. Their AoE skills are crucial, especially in large-scale PvP like War of Imperium and Battlefield Brawl. Blacksmiths aren't particularly effective in crowd situations due to their squishiness as a melee class. However, their stuns from Hammerfall and their buffs makes them viable, with a solid damage output. I've placed them in the A tier. In my opinion, Hunters are the strongest single-target DPS in PvP, excelling at bursting down individual targets. Additionally, they can set traps which adds to their effectiveness in War of Imperium. For these reasons, I've placed them in the S tier. A Knight tank build is essential in large-scale PvP like War of Imperium. Their role is to stand in the front and disrupt enemies' formation, allowing your guildmates to break through their defenses. For this reason, I believe Knights deserve an S tier ranking in PvP. Unfortunately, Assassins struggle in PvP due to their squishiness. Their primary strategy is to hide and launch sneak attack to softer targets. But in War of Imperium, players will constantly use detection skills, making it tough for Assassins since their hiding ability has a short duration. For these reasons, I've placed the Assassin in the C tier. So there you have it, my job class tier list for the Ragnarok. If you have any comments regarding my tier list, feel free to do so. As always, thank you for watching, like and subscribe to my channel, stay safe and have an awesome day. Lights out!